Do you feel the vibes?
Omagic, as you know, and or Mr. O, and welcome to another episode of Omagic's Kitchen. And today I thought we would continue on cooking our chicken. We bought one on our last episode from Coles. We used most of it. We have got some left over. The breast meat is left, and I thought today we might chuck that into a pie. So a very simple dish, and we've got a few ingredients, very small amount of ingredients. We've got some leek here, which you could use onion or even spring onions, and we've got some bacon, which could be ham, anything like that, and some butter, and we've got the chicken. We need some pastry, which I'm going to get out of the freezer in just a moment. We're going to use Coles puff pastry. We're not going to make our own pastry for this pie. I'm not a pastry chef. My mum's not here, so we're not going to make the pastry. I'll send a cheerio out to Mum while we're here. Lois at Swan Hill. Hello. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is start chopping up some of our leeks. So we'll just get straight into that. Now, particularly this leek in particular, leek I should say, there's a little thing with this. We bought this a few days ago, and I've cut the roots off. And the root part I have actually planted outside in the garden, and we're going to grow that again. We'll show you how to do that in the break when we put this pie into the oven. And while we're waiting for that to cook, we'll go and have a look at that. But for the moment, we'll cut this up, and we'll show you what goes on here. So I'm just going to cut this up nice and fine, very, very thin, because you want this to cook fairly quickly in the pie. It's raw at the moment, so we need about, you want about, I don't know, 20 slices, very thin. I'm using the bottom part. I could use a few bits of the top as well, so I might just put in this one. It looks alright. Take a few of the top bits. Now notice I'm not taking it apart, because if I want to save the rest of this, I can put it back in the fridge. That's probably enough really, actually. And that bit can go in as well. I think I'll chop that up. No, that's no good. Take that off. My little bin here, let's put that over here. Now, that's all we need there. And we've got our bacon, which we'll do in a minute. Now, at this point, I want to, we need to make our the moisture part of the pie. So that's going to be like a gravy part, and it's going to be like a white gravy, like a mornay. So we need, in a pan over here, we need to put about half a cup or a bit more of milk and a quarter of a cup of cream. So I'll just come over now and grab that. Right, so I've got my milk and I've got some cream there now, but just before I do that, I do need to do one other thing, and we want to get this out pretty quickly. So this is our puff pastry, and we need 2 pieces. So I want to get this out a little bit before time, because we've got to thaw it out a little bit first. Okay, that comes in slabs. You just got to fry it very carefully, so don't break it, because you could break one. You've got to go carefully. We need 2 pieces like that. I'm going to lay those out there and get those to thaw out a little bit. They'll just take a moment to thaw out. And now we can go back to our milk and our cream, which we spoke about just before. So about 1 cup of milk, half a cup to 1 cup, depends how big your pie is going to be. Let's go 3/4. Alright. Some milk and some cream. Like this. Yeah. Quarter of a cup of cream. And we also need in here some butter, and about a tablespoon of butter. So I'll just cut some off. We don't know how much a tablespoon is. About, I mean, you really can't go overboard. You can go in water, but about a tablespoon there. Whack that in there. Before that goes in there, I'm going to wipe that around my pan. And that's like butter in the pan. Or if you have got spray, you know, the spray on oil, you can use that. So I'll use that before I put it in there. So that's ready to go now. That's to stop the pastry sticking to the pan. So wash your hands all the time, in between ingredients and processes. So we've got that in there now. We need to put that onto the stove. Get that moving along. We're putting that on there now. While we're cooking this, we're going to check the consistency as we go. We may need a bit more water, or we might need some more milk. We'll see how we go. I think I'll just wrap that up now, like that. Now, put those leeks in. Chop that one up a bit more. They can go straight in, into the pan, like that. There, I'm using my beautiful gas stove top there. We use a wooden spoon to stir that. We don't want any steel flavours in the cooking. And we need some bacon in here now. So we've got some bacon here, just enough for this dish. Get that out. And that goes over there. And we just chop this up into little bits. Right. Right, chop that up like that. Into the pan again. Just watch the temperature on your pan. You don't want to have this too high because you'll burn it. Down a bit like that. There's a little bit of a process here that we have to go through. So now we need some chicken. So we've got leftover chicken. We're going to use the breast part of, and this is the end of our chicken. Okay, so the last we're going to do. The breast meat is very dry, so the best thing for it is to go into a pie, and that'll make it nice and soft. I'm cutting against the grain, and that will also make it not as dry and easier to eat. So across the grain, you can see the grain's going that way, so we're cutting across. Okay, cross grain like that, and I'll put that in. I think we can have a bit more. You can have too much chicken, but I think that will be enough. This will be enough. No, that's very good. Put that in. Just chop it up a little bit. Don't be too fussy, but like that. And cover that back up now. There's a few bits left there. We'll eat those later. Like that. And now we'll just do this through a bit more. At this point, I think it needs a little bit of water, so I'm going to put a quarter of a cup of water in. Go out of the tap there. Looks a bit thick to me. I'm just stirring this up now, keep it moving. Now you're really just bringing this to boil. At this point now, what I need to do now also is put a little bit of corn flour. So I need a little bit more water. Make a little corn flour mix now. 2 tablespoons of corn flour. Put in here. This is going to make it a little bit thicker again. Oops, like that. Just mix that in water first. Stir it up, same as you do gravy. And we'll whack that in as well. So 2 tablespoons of corn flour into the mix. There. And just keep stirring that in like that. So just moving that around. And once that comes to boil, it's pretty much ready to go into the pie. It's very, very simple. Now next is pepper and salt. Don't forget to use your pepper and salt. So we've got some grinders going on here. I like a fair bit of pepper, so we're just going to keep going here for a little while. There's no chilli in this dish, so we're going to put heaps of pepper in. Okay, and the salt. Plenty of salt. There's no cheese in here, so there's no salt at all, only from the bacon, which isn't much, so we're going to need a fair bit of salt. Okay, that's enough. Now we're just going to cook that down. In the meantime, while that's cooking, we need to get our pastry ready. Okay, so bring our dish over, which we pre-buttered before. Now here's our pastry. It's hanging off the table there. That means it's ready. And what we do is take that sheet off, the protective layer. Now just be careful when you're using this and don't work too fast. It is still a little bit sort of not thawed totally, so I'm going to work slowly. And I'm just pushing it in very carefully. Make it collapse on itself. Otherwise you'll tear it. In it goes. And we've patted this out nice and round. Watch out you don't break it, as I said. Now, it's not that even, but that's okay because the top one's going to fix that up. We're ready for our mixture to go in now. So we've been cooking over here, as you know. Just been keeping an eye on this because you don't want it to stick to the bottom and start burning on the bottom. So we had to stir. It's like making pasta, really. And so that's ready now. You can have a look at that before it goes in. It's just like a pasta mix without the pasta. Very nice. It smells terrific, right? But at this point I might just put a bit more. I didn't put any mixed herbs in. I'm not going to do that. Mixed herbs goes in. Put some herbs in now. You can put whatever you want in there really, but we're using some mixed herbs as well. These are Italian herbs, so lots of goodies in there as well. And we're ready to go. Pour it in. Oh, look at that. That's going to be beautiful. Excellent. Yep. So it's not that full, but it will puff up a little bit with the pastry. Whoops. All over the camera lens. There. And basically just put the pastry top straight on, which we've just got here. And sitting here for a little moment. Again, make sure you don't break it. Coles has made this really simple for us. I'm just going to whack it on top like that. Fairly even. And just push the edges down to meet the ingredients inside. So just popping the sides down a little bit. So this is going to take up any invariances that you might have had with the bottom layer of pastry. So just make sure that they both meet. And at this point, I'll just pull that around like that. There. So there's going to be a little bit of waste here, which is fine. Cut these off. I'll show you what to do with these in just a second. There. Like that. And this one. Okay, now at this point I'm just going to tuck this around. I'll just tuck the edges in. Okay, so fold it back on itself. Like that. A little bit. Around. Tuck that in. That's going to be a nice little crust on the edge. Like that. Now as you can see, you don't have to be professional here. You're just very, very robust, rustic, country style cooking here in a country house. This house is 100 years old, by the way. A bit like myself. Now with these bits, you just roll them up into a little curl and whack them on top. This is a bit of extra pastry on top. This is just dressing, this is just to make it look pretty really. I think we'll just have 3, what do you think? Leave that one. Now, don't forget to put some holes in the top. Alright, and we also need to do an egg now, an egg based. So I'm going to crack an egg in a bowl. Just use the same bowl as I had before. Now these are our own eggs from Omagic. Now, I haven't got a little brush, so I'm going to use a fork. So mix that egg up. And this is egg wash, of course. And you should be using a brush. I haven't got one in here at the moment, so I'm going to use just a fork will do the job. So all you want to do is just put a bit of that on top. Alright. Move it around. A little bit of egg wash. Like that. Now you could even put a bit of cheese on top if you wanted to, but we're not going to this time because we don't want it to get too stuffy. Okay, that looks pretty nice to me. Now I'm just going to poke a few more holes just to make sure. Okay, and that's ready to go in the oven, and we'll whack that in for about 30 to 40 minutes. About 180 degrees, 200 degrees, you want it to be half an hour. I like about 180, so it'd be 35 minutes, something like that. in the middle shelf, and we'll come back in about half an hour and have a look at that. I spoke about the onion before, our spring onion, which is not a spring onion, it's a leek. Could have been spring onions, remember we said that. Now, we spoke about how I cut the roots off this one and I put it in the garden. So I'd like to go and show you that now, so let's go and have a look. Okay, so I'm out the front yard now at Omagic Park, our 100-year-old house over here, which I mentioned before. 100-year-old farmhouse. And speaking of farm, there is our plants here. The plant we're talking about here is the leek. The one we cut in the kitchen. I cut the bottom root part off and planted it in the ground. And guess what? It's growing. Look at that. That'll grow up. When that grows up nice and big, like the one I had in my hand before, I'll cut that off and I'll have some more leek. I'll get 2 or 3 growths out of that. And you can do this with spring onions as well. And that's how we get real value out of the plants that we buy from Coles. When I say plants, your fruit and vegetables. So just another way of getting more value for what you're buying in the supermarket. Now appreciate, once that grows, that's going to taste better than what come off the shelf. So another little tip from Omagic kitchen. And now the pie's ready to come out, so we're going to check our chicken pie. It's been in here for about 35 minutes, I think, or 40, I'm not sure. But check it. It looks pretty good to me. I'd say that's ready. There we go. Look at that. Oh, it looks very nice. It looks scrumptious. That is a beautiful, robust and rustic chicken pie cooked in our very old oven over here in our 100-year-old house here at Omagic's kitchen. I think we should start cutting this up because it smells pretty good. So I'm going to use a knife and I'm going to use a cheese planer actually, because that's a nice little scoop to grab. This is like a pavlova wedge or something they call it to bring it out. So what we'll do is cut this up. Enough talk about the pavlova spatula. Let's just cut this in and let's see how this is going. Oh, look at that. That looks terrific. That's very nice. That's pretty good. Now it's going to be a little bit juicy, but that's what a good pie is, very juicy. Yep. Now better make sure it's all cut. I think it is. And we're in the plate now. And that can just go straight onto there, like that. Put a bit of that on as well. Like I said, very juicy. Not quite cut there, so I'll get that piece as well. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Excellent, look at that. Now, just to garnish off, I think this would be nice with a little bit of tomato. Give a little bit of a cut there. Like that. And we'll just put those around the side. Like that. A little sprig over here I got some earlier. This is rosemary from our trees outside. And there we have my chicken and leek and bacon pie from Omagic's kitchen. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time. And next time we might be looking at doing some pies. Let's see what we can do with a standard pie that you might buy from the supermarket. And well, there's a few dishes we're going to do. We're even going to show you how to fix up a fairly ordinary pie. So until then, catch you next time.